Alright, Shadow of the Colossus, remastered, Shadow for short, developed by Bluepoint Games, released in 2018. I'm not gonna lie, I was really dreading playing this game. I had previously played The Last Guardian, which was designed and directed by the same person, Fumito Ueda. I hope I said that right. And although I like The Last Guardian's trophy list, I was not a fan whatsoever of the game itself and had expected to have the same experience here. Well, I was wrong, and I'm glad to admit that. I may not be a fan of Shadow, but I cannot deny how amazing the game is in its own right. Combine that with a great trophy list, and I'm totally a happy camper. As for gameplay requirements, Shadow is a single-player game. No internet connection is required. Moving on, is this game right for you or your family to play? The ESRB rating for Shadow is teen because it contains blood and violence, according to them. In my opinion, this is easily suitable for preteen, 9 and older. I don't know what ESRB meant by blood, but it's just not in the game. Without spoiling the story, there is a substance that comes out of each colossi after you defeat them, but it's not blood. It doesn't come out or act like blood. This is because it's not blood. As for violence, yes, there's violence in the sense you have to defeat massive creatures that are clearly fantasy in nature using only a sword and bow. I again use the Harry Potter argument. If that movie, which also has fantasy violence, is suitable for preteen, then so should this game. For those reasons, I believe Shadow is suitable for preteen and older. Next up, just how long is this game going to take to complete? To beat Shadow on the easiest difficulty, and maybe even the normal difficulty, it can easily take at least 3 hours. Interestingly, in order to get 100%, it can take around 24 to 30 hours. I say it's interesting because although there are no cheats and very little favorable glitches you could use, you can use unlockable items in subsequent playthroughs that generally make the game difficulty irrelevant. And also, it allows you to cut through huge portions of the game that would otherwise require longer traveling. So, although your first playthrough may take a long time, it's very likely that your subsequent playthroughs, even on hard mode, will be significantly shorter as long as you have all the relevant unlockable items with you. Alright, time to get into the fun stuff. On a scale easy to expert, I'd say Shadow's trophy list is average. In my opinion, the game best helps critical thinking, which is the ability to analyze and evaluate an issue to form a decision. And for me, there was plenty of trial and error figuring that out along the way. Moving on, let's look at the highlights. What trophy best reflects boosting critical thinking? To me, that would be the Speed King trophy, which requires you to obtain all time attack items. Basically, you need to defeat all colossi within a certain time using preset gear and attributes on both normal and hard mode. This was actually harder than I thought it would be, but I'm glad I did it. It forced me to look at each battle differently, and I had to do a lot of trial and error in order to find the most efficient and effective way to beat the time trial. Not for all, but for maybe a third at least, maybe even half. And when you think about it, it's very helpful in the real world. If you're a kid, you're going to have time tests and limited time to tackle projects and homework assignments, so being able to look at things differently to be more effective is going to get you better results and make schooling a lot easier. Similarly, for adults, in most lines of work, you're going to face time-sensitive deadlines on top of everything else you're doing. Or maybe you're in an industry where you get high-volume traffic during certain hours of the day, and it comes down to how effective and efficient can you be so that it doesn't burn you out, right? To me, that's where trophies like these really help. And the better you do, the better it can translate to your waking life. And again, to be able to get that kind of build or benefit from gaming is so incredible in my opinion, because it's something that is generally enjoyable and has few realistic or practical consequences if not done correctly, because gaming is generally considered and is a leisure activity. And finally, let's talk about improvements. When I think of what trophies would have reflected the game and have built critical thinking, the only thing that comes to my mind would have been more restrictions with the speedrun and deathless run trophies. Specifically, by being able to use unlockable items, it essentially made the trophies less valuable and meaningful for building mental fitness than they would have been if unlockable items weren't allowed in the runs. I did enjoy the fact I could use unlockable items, so maybe a balance between the two would have been adding a second speedrun trophy where you couldn't use unlockable items. And as far as what trophies could have been added to reflect the game and have been more challenging for mental fitness, probably making more Colossi specific condition trophies is what comes to my mind. Specifically, they had 2 already with the game, but they didn't do anything with the others. And there's 16 Colossi altogether. So I felt this was a lost opportunity to really promote problem solving and encourage users to really think and utilize all the game mechanics, the moves and the weapons, and which would really have boosted other aspects of mental fitness. So for example, defeating certain Colossi with only a bow would have been pretty cool. Stuff like that. Just something for Bluepoint to consider in future games that they develop. And that's a wrap. Again, I had dreaded playing Shadow of the Colossus, but quickly changed tune and was pleasantly surprised with how cool it was, I must admit. I would recommend playing it if you're looking to build critical thinking. And if you have questions about this game or mental fitness, or just want to share your experience with Shadow, feel free to leave a comment or message me. I will do my best to answer any question in a reasonable time. And alright everyone, that's another review in the bag. If you want to watch me play live, follow me on Twitch. If you would like to hear more about mental fitness, my game previews and initial impressions, then go on over and follow me on my Instagram. I also take polls on Twitter for games I should play next that are in my library, if you'd like to participate in that. And finally, as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye!